Hello, welcome to Old Nerd Reads His Marvel Comics in Order. This is episode 60. This time I read X-Men 101 via Classic X-Men number 9. For this video series, I'm reading my Marvel Comics collection in release day order. I do have some of these older issues of Chris Claremont's X-Men. I don't have them all. The ones that I do have, I want to leave in their protective Mylar bags and boards, acid-free boards and Mylar bags. I don't want to get them out and chance hurting them. So I read the copies of Classic X-Men that I have instead. Kind of works for me. I didn't read the X-Men when they first came out. I was too young at the time. And the Classic X-Men started coming out right about the time I started collecting Uncanny X-Men. So these are these were what I read to get those earlier stories. So, and I like to read these for this series because they have the bonus material in them plus the second backup story. And yeah, that's what we're doing. This issue 101. This is after the X-Men have returned. This is right when the X-Men returned to Earth from their fight with the Sentinels over the last couple of issues. This is the issue where Jean Grey is reborn as Phoenix. Great frontispiece by Arthur Adams, as well as his cover, Arthur Adams cover. I was a huge Arthur Adams fan back at this time. So these Classic X-Men with the Art Adams new covers and frontispieces were amazing to me. Again, this is by Chris Claremont, Dave Cockrum. We have a few altered pages of story drawn by Tom Morgan. And then, of course, the backup story, as always, is by John Bolton. And again, I'm really... in retrospect, I didn't like Dave Cockrum's artwork when I was younger. I guess I knew that it wasn't bad, but at the same time, his style didn't really work for me. But now, looking back, reading these again, I really like his artwork. I think he is a fantastic comic book illustrator. And of course, we always have Dave Cockrum draw planes because it seems like Dave Cockrum loves drawing planes, and he does a very good job drawing them. So we start off with a plane crash. And here's our cast: Cyclops, Wolverine, Storm, Nightcrawler, Banshee, Colossus, Professor X, and Dr. Corbeau, friend of Professor X's who got caught up in the action over the last few issues. But they crash at the airport in New York City, JFK. They bounce right over the barrier at the end of the landing strip and end up out in the water, Jamaica Bay. The X-Men get out of the ship, bob to the surface, and then Phoenix makes her first appearance. So to the X-Men, it looks as if Jean Grey has survived their crash landing from space. And now we get into the pages that were altered. This is a common thing in Classic X-Men where there will be a few pages that are redrawn, rescripted, and that's what's happening here. I don't know what the original story was. I never read the original issue that this came out, X-Men 101. I never read it. So one of these days I've got to compare these Classic X-Men's with side by side with their counterparts, the originals. The inside back cover of Uncanny X-Men always contained a reprint of the cover for the original issue. But here, like I said, this is Tom Morgan. He draws a couple of pages. He starts halfway through this page, so that's interesting to me that they started like Dave Cockrum's the top, and then Tom Morgan takes over right here and draws the next couple of pages while the X-Men get out of the water and emergency services arrive. And this scene here where Storm flies to the X mansion, gets everybody a change of clothes, and then comes back as they're just finding a limousine that Professor X is mind controlling the driver, and they're going to take this limousine and use it to get Jean to the hospital. So all of this is three and a half pages of new doctored material from the original material. Now we're back to Dave Cockrum, and now we're back to reprinting the original story here. Wolverine is getting Jean flowers because he's got a crush on her. He gets to the hospital and finds the rest of the X-Men are all there waiting for her, waiting quietly to hear what the diagnosis is. And he tosses his flowers in the garbage because for some reason he thought he was going to be the only one there and giving her flowers and flirting with her, and that was not the case. The entire team, of course, is there. I don't know why he would have thought that, but of course Scott Summers, Cyclops, is taking it very hard, but the doctor comes out and says she's going to be okay. Everybody celebrates. Scott is so relieved that he breaks down. Now, this is where the book takes a quick left turn and sends us into the next story arc really quickly. Professor X sends the rest of the team on holiday. He and Cyclops will remain at the hospital to take care of Jean. The rest of the X-Men are going to go to Ireland because Banshee just got a letter from his lawyer saying that he's inherited the family castle over in Ireland. So that's perfect timing. We're going to send the X-Men on a long trip, another Dave Cockrum airplane, a long trip through planes, trains, and automobiles to Ireland and to Cassidy Keep. This is Sean Cassidy, Banshee's family home where he grew up, and he's just inherited it. So that's where the X-Men are going on vacation. But, of course, we've got some shady happenings within the castle. We find that Black Tom Cassidy has taken over, and he is holding the castle's caretaker's family hostage and making the caretaker do his bidding. And he goes down and he lies to the X-Men, saying everything's fine, come on in, show you to your rooms. This is interesting right here. This panel shows some tiny people up in the rafters of Aurora's room, Storm's room. I don't think they come into play. They don't come into play this issue, but I believe they do in an issue or two down the road. Storm is feeling very claustrophobic. She does not like the stone walls of the castle. She's feeling entombed. So what she does is she creates a summer rainstorm inside her room to make herself feel better. I don't think that's going to make the people that have to clean the room feel much better, though, if she's rained inside there. But I don't know. If she's going to do that, she must be able to summon up some wind powers to dry the room out, because now this is later. She's changed. Nightcrawler shows up. He's got his Tony Stark image inducer, which allows him to cover up his demonic-looking normal self as he's able to appear as a normal human out in public. But he can make himself look like whoever, and he goes through a bunch of movie stars to try and, woo Storm. What he normally chooses is Tony Stark appearance. And then Storm, Aurora, she's all dressed up for dinner. And of course, he's got his socks knocked off because she's beautiful. Banshee realizes that the housekeeper seemed a little out of place when he greeted the X-Men's arrival, and he's decided that he's going to take him aside to try and find out what's up. Everybody's heading to dinner, but on their way to dinner, a trapdoor in the floor opens. They fall into the dungeon where we meet Black Tom and the Juggernaut. And Black Tom says he's going to murder the X-Men, and they're all entombed in the rock, the crag underneath the castle, which sends Storm into a panic, and she has a breakdown, and that's the end of this issue. So next issue, we're going to have our first big fight between the new X-Men and the Juggernaut, which is, I love the Juggernaut. The Juggernaut is one of my favorite villains. Then we go to our backup story, which was in every issue of Classic X-Men for the first 30 or so issues that they did these. This is a story of one of the nights at the hospital while the X-Men was there waiting to see how Jean Grey was going to recover. Kurt Wagner, with his image inducer looking human, he's looking out the window of the waiting room, and he notices a small boy sitting out in the park by a Christmas tree. The whole outer space with the fight with the Sentinels up on the abandoned shield space platform for the last couple issues, that took place at Christmas time. So there's still a Christmas tree up now out in the courtyard of the hospital in New York City. So Nightcrawler goes outside to ask this kid why he's all alone at 3 o'clock in the morning in New York City. The kid is very negative, doesn't want to talk, doesn't seem to care what happens to him. Night Watchman spots them, tells them they got to get out of there. So they go for a walk. They go to a restaurant. The kid won't eat. Nightcrawler can't get him to crack, can't get him to smile, can't get him to open up. So they leave. They go for another walk. Nightcrawler, since he's an acrobat, a circus acrobat, decides he's going to use that to try and get the kid to open up a little bit, and it kind of works. He walks on his hands. The kid makes the kid smile for the first time, and the kid decides he wants to have a foot race, and he takes off into the park. And Nightcrawler, the kid doesn't know he's talking to Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler secretly teleports Bamf ahead of the kid, surprising him. The kid can't believe he got beat in the foot race. Tries it again. Nightcrawler does it again, gets ahead of him again. The kid finally gives up, sits down. Nightcrawler is going to try and get him to open up once more time by juggling, teaching the kid to juggle. Kind of works, kind of juggles a little bit, but it's dawn. Kid's got to go home. Nightcrawler walks him home. At the last minute, Nightcrawler wants to be honest with the kid, shuts off the image inducer, and shows the kid his true appearance as Nightcrawler, which makes the kid happy. Gives him a hug. Next, a little later, Kurt is back at the hospital where Jean Grey and the X-Men are, and finds out that the kid was a ghost. The kid passed away from cancer the night before. So he had been talking to a ghost. It's kind of a Twilight Zone episode. He'd been talking to a ghost all along, which kind of helped Kurt get through his sadness over Jean Grey. So that's the little backup story. Here's the back cover piece, art piece by John Bolton. Nice one. Great issue. Really moves right along from one story to the next. Chris Claremont showing early signs of being the great writer that everybody holds him to be these days, especially when it comes to the X-Men. Action moves right along in this issue, even though it's a very introspective issue, like the whole scene with Scott Summers breaking down after finding out that Jean Grey is going to be okay. It's something you don't see in comics anymore. I miss that, the humanity of the characters, and that's what made everybody love the X-Men. So it's too bad that we lost that somewhere along the way in comics. But anyway, if anybody's got anything to say, please comment it down below. Otherwise, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. There's many more Reading My Marvel Comics in Order episodes to come. I'm just getting started. So please stick around for those. And I'll see you next time.